does he now have a burden, not only does he now have passion, Nehemiah is moved to pray. As a leader, especially a church leader, you need a prayer life.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you need a prayer life. Yeah. Thank God for education and training, but you need a prayer life.
Right.
Thank God for certificates and of achievement and all that, but you need a prayer life.
Yes,
you don't just need to know the Word of God, you need a relationship with the God of the Word.
Yes,
you don't need to just know the Psalms, you need to know the Shepherd. You don't just need to know of Him, you need to know Him.
yes.
Paul said that I may know Him in the fellowship of His suffering and the power of His resurrection. I want to know Him. I've read about Him. I've read what Isaiah said. I read what Jeremiah said. I read what the prophet said. I met Him on the road to Damascus, but I want to know Him. The leader must have a burden. Must have passion.
Yeah.
The leader must be moved to pray.
All right.
And after all those things, the next thing you need to do when you get through praying is you need to take action. You need to take some kind of action. God help the folk that's praying about the situation and ain't doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people sit around and see the issue but won't do nothing about the issue.
All right.
They see the problem but they never address the problem. They know that the choir needs some more tenors, but they won't get up there and sing in the tenor section. You know, the choir, they need to sing some different songs, and you just sit back, you never join. And somehow people think they can shape it from the outside by criticizing. And then say they want to lead.
All right.
Nehemiah not only has a burden, Nehemiah not only has passion, not only is Nehemiah moved to pray, but Nehemiah takes action. On the day and time that he comes before the king, Nehemiah has an opportunity to do something about his passion.
All right.
He has an opportunity to do something about his burden. He has an opportunity to do something he's been praying about. Yeah. What does he do? He begins to share. Yeah, he shares. But he doesn't just share it with anybody. Right. He shares it with somebody that can do something. Yes. Thank you, El Powell. You don't know what the rest of it. He said, El Powell says somebody who can what? Make a difference. Sometimes we just call up our buddies and tell our buddies. And all our buddies are going to do is listen to what we got to say. But if you really intend to lead, if you really intend to move, you need to talk to somebody that can make a difference. Who is it that you talk to? Who is it that you confide in? Who is it that inspires you? My God, help me today. It's important in my life. It's important in my life. The people that I look up to, the reason I look up to them is because they're above me. I look up to my older brother. There are things I look up to him because I still see myself coming up to. I know there are people who look up to me, but while they're looking up to me, I need to look up to somebody else. I need to look up to somebody who's doing what I want to do. I need to look at somebody who's conquered what I want to conquer. I want to look at somebody who's arrived where I'm trying to go. The late Bishop Chandler D. Owens was famous for saying, going there, can't tell been there how to get there. Going there, can't tell been there how to get there.
All right.
If you still going, you.
I hear you.
How you trying to tell me to be a successful pastor?
Listen, I'm just going.
How you trying to tell me to do these things, and when I look at you, young man that used to lead the pastors and elders council used to use one of those phraseologies that said, never buy clothes from a naked man. All right. You'll catch it. You'll catch it. You'll catch it. If you're going to share, if you got a burden, if you got a passion, if there's something on the inside something, why don't you go to somebody that's already doing that? Can I just say, before we did the radio program, I went to somebody that was on the radio.
All right.
I love Elder Powell, but Elder Powell not on the radio. There's no sense in me talking to him.
Yeah.
Powell, what is it like being on the radio? What if I want to be on the radio every day? Should I go in there preaching? It would not have helped me to talk to him. I can share with him because he's a friend and a confidant. But if I'm trying to aspire to do something, I need to talk to somebody that's doing what I want to do. So they can tell me, since they've been there and I'm going there, I need to know how to get there. Leaders, sometimes we waste time talking to folk who mean us no good, who have nothing to add. We waste time talking to folk. Rod Parsley says, you got to be careful who you hang around. Rod Parsley said, they're either to be the wind beneath your wing or a rock around your neck. Sometimes we're so busy just collecting folk. We're happy that people, you know, but sometimes all those folk are just rocks around your neck.
I hear you.
They're not helping you do what it is God has given you to do.
That's right.
You want to be a prayer leader, but you hang around prayerless people.
Can't do it.
You want to be an intercessor.
Yes.
But the people that you talk to don't even intercede for themselves.
That's right.
How am I going to aspire to be an intercessor, but the folk I'm talking to, I'm always praying for them.
Talk, preacher. Talk.
If I'm going to be a leader, if I'm going to develop, if I'm going to get this thing together, I need to find some folk that's willing to impart with me.
I hear you.
I gotta find somebody who you know, some of our, God bless our grandmamas and mamas and all that, who died with them recipes because they didn't want to share. Mama, how you cook that meatloaf? Nah, baby, I can't tell you my secret recipe. Mama, how you fry? Nah, I can't tell you my secret. So mama and the recipe, and I don't mean to offend nobody, but mama and the recipe's in the grave.
Mama.
Do you realize that Colonel Sanders, before he became Kentucky Fried Chicken, was a retired postal worker?
All right.
And when he retired, he went home thinking that was going to satisfy him. And it didn't satisfy him. He got bored, and the only other thing he knew how to do was cook chicken.
All right.
And a recipe had been passed down to him, and so he went down to a local restaurant and said, can I come down and cook? You really don't have to pay me. I just want to cook. And he cooked, and they liked his chicken, and so eventually he got a job at the restaurant. But his chicken became so popular.
Yeah.
You know the rest of the story. There was another man who came to work for him, who was a marketing genius, who had no desire to get into business, who came to work for Colonel Sanders and got involved and began to market the idea. He was the one who came up with the bucket. Colonel Sanders didn't come up with the bucket. The marketing man came up with the bucket. And he retired from Kentucky Fried Chicken with his millions of dollars. And he went home and realized he wasn't happy. And he went out and started a hamburger franchise. Y'all call it Wendy's. It was just people who had a recipe. People who were not afraid to share what they had. And now they're multi-millionaires. And we got folk in the church that God has given. Yo,